Well, well, well. It looks like the tide has turned. Xbox just reversed its decision, and we're going to talk about it. Hi, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, share the video out there. I'm RJ Game News USA, and today we're going to cover the gaming news. The biggest story, Xbox has reversed its decision on $80 games. They've decided to lower it back down to $70. I really believe it was due to public pressure, and it was due to the fact that clearly Xbox is in third place behind Nintendo and Sony, and so making their games even more expensive would tank their business entirely. And they jumped the gun. They wanted to go to 80. They got scared of the tariffs. I fully expect the PS6 generation and, the generation coming up in a few years with the next Xbox to be $80 games. I really do. I can foresee it going up another $10. But it's way, way, way too soon to be talking about $80 games. And they probably saw the Outer Worlds 2 pre-order numbers and said, yikes, we're actually making less money. Because in supply and demand, I'll explain it this way. Let's say 7 million people, I'm just pulling these numbers out of my ass. Let's say 7 million people, let's say 8 million people would have bought the Outer Worlds 2 at $70. Okay? To at least have the same amount of revenue coming in, you would need 7 million people to pick up the Outer Worlds 2 at $80. However, what if out of the 8 million people who were interested in Outer Worlds 2, only 4 million decided to pick it up because of the price? Uh-oh, looks like you priced things too high. Now, you're actually making less money. So, obviously, supply and demand, you gotta hit a sweet spot. And the one area that I feel like that could still affect gaming, it's not with accessories. Accessories are becoming a luxury item. Controllers are mandatory. They could upcharge whatever they want. Subscription services, they'll always charge extra per year. I know gaming did go from 60 to 70 somewhat recently, but that's a next-gen leap. But in consoles, honestly, they're expensive as hell. They want to keep them expensive. They want to make them more expensive. Whatever. But games themselves, if you do not move units, you fail. You fail. So you don't want to price yourself out of the market with $80 games. Xbox is already halfway out of the market. Xbox players, and I could take this from personal experience when I had an Xbox, we just play whatever comes on Game Pass and fuck everything else. And that's the God's honest truth. Honestly, and I got tired of that business model. I really did. Too many bad games, not enough games I wanted from the back catalog of Activision Blizzard. But that's a side tangent to the big issue at hand. This means Mario Kart World is still the first $80 game in modern era. Now, interestingly enough, Mario Kart World, it will be the first or the only. Because Mario Kart World is bundled in with the Switch 2 for only $50 extra. Will Mario Kart World see a price cut to $70 whenever it gets taken off the bundle? Because that bundle doesn't last forever, apparently. Or will it stay at $80? And that begs the question, will the next big 3D Mario be $80? Will the next big 3D Zelda or Smash be $80? Will they have one game a year that's $80? Maybe. I do think $70 will still be mostly the standard price for Nintendo. And I do expect a few games could be $80. Now, the next question is Grand Theft Auto 6. A lot of people are assuming the bottom is 80 and that 70 is not on the board. I actually do think 70 is on the board. I do think they could charge 70. Personally, I think they're going to go with 80, though. I know some people in the past have said it could be 90, it could be 100. I don't believe so. I believe the debate is between 70 and 80. And I do think they go with 80. If Mario Kart is 80, they'll make Grand Theft Auto 80. The thing about Grand Theft Auto, though, I've never really played much of the story of any of the Grand Theft Autos. I just fuck around in it. That's the fuck around in a sandbox kind of game for me. Because every other open world game, I don't like to fuck around in the sandbox. I just like to play the main objectives. I get a little tired of open world games. I feel like we get a lot of fetch quests. Everything's literally samey. Everything tries to be the sandbox. And honestly, I would prefer a little more linearity in my games. Me personally. I know I'm probably in the minority on that. Now, a game like Donkey Kong has been great. I mean, reviews should be coming up maybe in a few days. I mean, I'm playing the hell out of it. But I've been skipping a lot of side content there that I'll go back to later. But I'm mostly just mainlining through it and having an absolute blast. And more on that in a few days. But, not to get off on a tangent, though, Donkey Kong Bonanza would be worth $80 to me. I'll say that. I don't want to normalize $80 games. I really don't. It's a slippery slope. You go 80, then you go 90, then you go 100. It can get pretty brutal. People are on a budget sometimes. And sometimes when you're in a pinch with your family and you got to make cuts, gaming might be the first thing to go. So I think these gaming companies might be wising up a bit, and instead of passing cost on to the consumer, maybe, just maybe, they might look at lowering some of these budgets. If there's only one good thing that maybe comes out of the Microsoft layoffs, is that they'll be more focused, they'll be a little leaner. Maybe they won't care so much how good this plant looks 4 feet away that you don't interact with. And they'll just put out games that are reasonably priced with a reasonable budget. However, obviously, I'm still very upset at Microsoft for the layoffs. I'm very pissed off at them. I think it was completely unnecessary and it was overblown. Not saying a company is not allowed to make decisions and decide to change their workforce, but they absolutely took a machete to what required a scalpel. So, yeah, there's that. And, of course, part of me is wondering, when will Microsoft finally officially just be totally out of the console market and just go full third party and just sell games? Like, it seems like they're half in, half out anyway. They're in a really weird spot where on the console side, they are way, way in last, but yet on the publisher side, they're one of the top publishers in the United States right now with all the properties they have, all the games they're releasing. So you almost feel like them having a console is almost a burden on their neck. You feel like them trying to shoehorn Game Pass into everything is almost just cannibalizing or hurting them in some way at this point. Versus if they were just a third-party studio that sold games on Nintendo and PlayStation. But only time will tell what will happen in the future. Hopefully this means Game Pass won't be going up in price anytime soon, but don't hold your breath. And hopefully this means $80 games will be far, far in the future away from now. Again, don't hold your breath. You'll probably see it happen sooner than you want. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the video. Comment down below your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.